Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and the Junior Hockey Discussion Group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. We are live this morning, actually live, not just figuratively live. Are you alive? We are live. It's 9 a.m. Eastern. You can find us on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Today is Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. If you read the Heis Hockey article this morning, it addresses the art of the trade. We do this type of article probably once a year, and we'll bring this back again next year about the same time. The reasoning for first of all, congratulations, Toronto Maple Leafs. You're one game away of actually winning a playoff series. Watched the game last night, full of emotion. We go from losing a game by a lot, getting crushed again. Our dreams are going to go in the toilet. Third period, the miracle on ice. Canadian style. Leafs were amazing. Now, that Leafs team that played the first two periods was not amazing. The third period, magic. Overtime, magic. Up 3-1 in the series on Tampa with 2 wins in Tampa. Series resumes in Toronto this week. Game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys ready for this? I am, finally. But I'm kind of concerned because the last time the Leafs won the Cup, I was in diapers. 1967. I'm hoping that if the Leafs win the Cup this year, I'm not going to be in diapers because that would mean something happened. Stroke, heart attack, something major. I really am not excited about that possibility. So there you go. That's kind of gross this morning. Talking about diapers first thing in the morning on a Tuesday. Art of the trade. The reasoning for a trade request can vary from a lack of playing time, unhappiness with management over conditions, the team's direction, etc. Once it gets to a boiling point where a player wants out, tensions between the player and his advisor with the team's management and ownership can rise during meetings and phone calls. The pressure is on. This is why I generally prefer to deal with coaches that the relationship is well established long before that player gets there. That makes trade request much, much easier. When dealing with a team when that relationship is not already established, it must get to the point that you play hardball with that team and it can get pretty vicious. Let's face it, it's a divorce between the player and the team. It's never a pleasant situation when you're dealing with hockey players, especially when there's emotion involved. Yes, sometimes it gets kind of dirty. It gets nasty. There's some coaches that I refuse to talk to this day. There are owners that I've been friends with for 20 years that we are now on radio silent over his position regarding a bad trade. You don't punish kids, but it happens all the time. What I always try to do was to keep the player out of the discussion and allow me to be the bad guy. That's always the best. Don't let the player get involved. Don't let the player communicate with the coach regarding the trade. Let me be the bad guy. I'm really good at it. Yes, I often take the bullet for the kids. I know the parent wants the kid out. The kid wants to get out. But I don't want the parent or the kid to be the one looked upon negatively by that team. I want to be the bad guy. It's my role. That's what you pay me for. Generally, a player's trade request begins by the advisor calling the coach. Hey, we have to do something different. I'm pretty straightforward about this, just the way I roll. If the client wants to be traded, I'm going to tell the team he wants to be traded. I'm not going to pussyfoot around with it. Let me get right to the point. Hey, this is not working out. We need to make a change. Hey, changes happen in hockey. Nothing's catastrophic. It's not personal. I'm not going to dance around the subject. I'm just going to let it be known this is what I want to do. And in these scenarios, we'll work with the coach in terms of what would make sense for the team as well. Will that be another body? Will that be a tender, a draft pick if the trade's within the same league? We try to make it right. Look, at doing the right things for the right reasons are what keeps me in business. But it also depends on the level of the player. But I've had players go straight to the owner and request a trade. That really doesn't work. A lot of times the owner might think the agent is behind the whole trade. I'm facilitating or asking for it or suggesting it. And I'm full of baloney. That happens. But let the advisor be the bad guy here. When a player is not responsive or engaging with management, it forces the organization to wonder what the player is thinking, what the problem is, and what the situation can be resolved. After a trade request is made, the puck is usually in the team zone. They have to figure it out. If the player is in the final year of junior eligibility, the leverage swings to the player. Unless a team is willing to give up assets for a short-term playoff rental, most teams won't give up assets to acquire a player without some background intel that they can keep the player for the following season. Well, for a 20 bomb, that's not going to happen. The next step is to keep it under wraps for the benefit of both the sides to get the deal they want. Some advisors take the executive's role into their own hands and evaluate what the market could be for the client. Yes, I look around junior hockey to identify a spot for that player. Goalies, I wish I could tell you it was easy. It's definitely not easy. Sometimes you jump out of the frying pan right into the fire. Goalies are different than skaters. Goalies, it's all about your last 5 games. If you're a 920 or better, I can move you up the ladder of development. If you're 880 or south or worse, you're going down. You're going to go from tier 2 to tier 3. Look at last year we had a North American Hockey League goalie that I was trying to find a place for. I couldn't even find a tier 3 team for him. That's how crazy it was. Not even a junior B team wanted him. And he ended up destroying his own team in the playoffs. It was catastrophic for that team. They couldn't get rid of the kid. Nobody wanted them. Not across Canada, not here in the United States, not the NCDC. Nobody wanted that player. Just the way it is. Then there is always a risk that the team may trade the player to a place he didn't want to go. Then I have to go through the back door and block the teams that you don't want to be traded to so you can narrow the scope. No, coach, I'm not going to let that kid go to Austin. Sorry, Austin, last year you guys were a train wreck. Coach left, team was even worse. So I had to say that's not where the kid's going to go. There's a lot that goes into that. Using the threat of moving to unsanctioned or vice versa, junior hockey is always going to be a last resort. But that's the elephant in the room, isn't it? That is when the cat and mouse game between the advisor and the team trying to move the player can come to a breaking point. A lot of times what a team will do is keep it tight and won't communicate with the advisor until it's too far gone. Bad move. Sometimes the team they're dealing with will backdoor them and go directly to the advisor to get an idea of what's going on. If a trade goes down, they don't want to be caught off guard and lose the player to a non-sanctioned team. So in almost every case, when that possibility comes to an head, when there's a good possibility that I'm just going to send a kid to the USPHL or the Eastern Hockey League now, the team actually says, okay, where does he want to go? Some relationships between teams and advisors are strained for a prolonged period and affect future negotiations and other players. Absolutely correct. If I have a bad experience with a coach or an owner and a trade doesn't go the way we want it to go, or I have to go outside of sanctioned hockey and I get called every name in the book, good chance I'm not sending any more kids back to that team for a while. Really good chance. Other divorce agreements and trade requests are handled well, and the sides hold no grudges down the line. Look, I have some really good friends in junior hockey. Sometimes that friendship gets a little strained when we go into the situation like this. I had a player go from a team the next season. He went to the USPHL, thought he was going to make it, didn't make it, got injured, wanted to go back to the league. He went back to the team that he was playing on before. The coach was kind of, yeah, I'm happy you're here, but he gave him a hard time. Kid said, okay, I got to go somewhere else. Coach said, yep, you have to go somewhere else. Wanted to trade him to a lesser team that was losing, two teams that were horrible. He said, no, I'm not going to go there. Oh, I got a deal done, but it caused some strain. When it's all said and done, the best way to handle a trade is to do things the right way. There it is, my own art of the trade. In almost every case, there's going to be ill feelings in these situations unless the coach that wants to move the player is doing so because the player is not good enough to stay on his roster. That happens. And we find lesser teams where those kids can compete. I had a block of kids once get traded from the South Division of the 3HL to Montana. Ironically, I lost every one of those clients. It was ugly. I think it was 4 players. They were not happy about it. It's okay. I didn't do it. I tried to help. It was ugly. I knew the kids were going to go somewhere. I tried to send them someplace where at least they're going to play. Little did I know that the place they were going was an absolute trailer park fire with dumpsters ablaze and crackheads and meth heads and prostitutes. It was ugly. Yeah, sometimes that thing happens. Can't control everything. Can't control all the integral parts of what happens in the junior program. I liked the coach. I thought he was going to be okay. He ended up being a dopehead. Didn't see that one coming. Welcome to junior hockey in 2020s. All right, folks, that's it for today. A little long-winded. Hope that you enjoy your morning coffee and have a great day in hockey.